right, guys, good morning and good night. Thank you for choosing the Critical Hits podcast, where we talk about nerd stuff, life, and basically like when you get hit by something and like all them little -1 HP start coming out, it's not always a good time. Of course, there's like one-ups too, so we'll be discussing some positives. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about fitness, again, from the perspective of a nerd, and maybe if any nerd news organically finds its way into the conversation, that's fantastic. It's the early June, so there's a lot of new things on the table, but there's also a lot of people getting into some new fitness routines, because summer technically doesn't start for like almost another month. So you could still, you may not get that summer body, but you could improve. Like when Mario gets a little mushroom, he could take at least one hit after that. Like he's got room. But anyways, I'm joined here by Jay. You guys remember Jay Bird Plays, used to be with Body Snatchers, whatever happened to those guys. So he's here with us today. And then who's not here is this guy named Steve. And I'm thankful for that, because I really hate everything about his character.
Hello, everybody.
What's going on? I missed you guys.
I know, this feels right. This feels good. We're back at it again. Tino's crabby. Everything's perfect. I love it.
Everything is perfectly balanced, as it always should be.
There we go.
Not you out here with the Thanos memes and stuff. Like, what are we doing here?
It only makes sense, man. It only makes sense.
So it's tough to figure out exactly where to kick this one off, because I think that this is actually a pretty sensitive subject, and it kind of depends like who you're talking to. So for me, fitness is like a weird thing, and like I guess I'll start the conversation because I already know I'm doing more fitness than you guys. I
don't think so.
Hey, I'm 1,000% positive. I've never been more positive in my life.
You've been the same size for 10 years. I don't think so.
I'm more positive than Magic Johnson on his worst day.
I'm dead.
He's the healthiest guy.
Was that too much?
He's the healthiest old man you'll ever find. That
might have been too much.
Say we coming in hot.
He was. That's how he got there. No magic found today. So, so for me, in my current fitness journey, I've noticed something over the last decade. When I first got into this, it was me hanging out with a lot of more of your stereotypical douchebag guys, that are just really into lifting and they hate everybody around them. If you got your power lifters, they're just have chalk on everything, and they're just not a great people to be around. And I kind of felt like an exception to the rule for a long time, being somebody who's nerdy. And I'm like, look, I'm not going to front. I'm in here because Goku told me when I was a kid that this is what I need to be doing. So that's what I'm going to do. And basically every anime following forward, that's kind of been, my motivation for all these things, which is funny. But today in 2024, when you look around the gym, and this was true in Chicago, this is true, out here in California, you'll see just tons of weebs everywhere, with the Goku training Saiyan t-shirts, or just whatever, and it's just so fun to see that, that energy and, that drive that we get from anime. And some people do MMA or maybe sports, whatever your thing is, but specifically for the gym and for fitness, it's lovely to see that the motivation from those shows can be channeled into your local fitness center.
Well, yeah, because if you think about it, anime usually has masculine battles. They trained, they fought, they almost lost, they won, all those things. They dopamine effect every time you see the end of those fights. It's
I love how
man, I want to be that way.
You went straight to masculine. I'm like, bro, I don't even know that it would necessarily be that. He was like, yeah. He was like, so anyways, I'm vetoing all the ladies. Stop it.
That hot man on man action. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Look, if you're watching an anime with women and you're like, I got to work out, that's hentai. That's porn. So
wait a second. Have you ever seen What Weight Dumbbells Do You Lift? Is that the name of it, Tino? Have you seen that? Oh, man. It's great. You'll love it.
I haven't seen it. I'll check it out.
You'll love it. You'll love it. 100%.
Still angry about sexist Steven. So what we're going to do really quick is we're going to preface this with, these are comments coming from Steven. I do not co-sign. Michael Valentino, you might know me as Tino Plus Ultra.
Yeah, I'm not giving
sound body in mind. Do not co-sign the sexist statements coming out of this idiot's mouth.
How is it sexist? I'm not giving no women advice. I don't know nothing about women.
You shouldn't give men advice because you don't know anything about women.
I give men advice. I've been a very successful man up until now. So any man that doesn't have what I do should listen to me. You wouldn't listen to someone that they're broke for financial advice. You should listen to me because I found some cheat codes that could be useful. There you go.
Right, easy. There it is.
So we're just going to keep the conversation moving forward here for a little bit. So like, let's start off with like some of the basics here. I think with fitness, it's important in general, right? Like having a moderately balanced diet and having some sort of a fitness routine is important. I would never like fat shame or, body shame somebody who's like, super underweight, nor would I somebody super overweight. But
of course,
I think that in general, we recognize that like either one of those too much of an extreme, and even like muscles, you can be, a freaking boulder on, I don't want to say like, enhancement drugs like steroids or something, but I mean, you can go so far down the rabbit hole that you can also do danger. This is true across the board with anything in life. But the point is that I do think it's good to put a little bit of effort into trying to better your health, no matter what end of the spectrum that you start on. For longevity, for peace of mind, for so many things, especially as we age, like as we're getting older. So, Jay, Steven, and I, we're all like, in the same age group. So we like to like make it fun. We'll say we're in our level 30s. we're veteran players.
Right. That was fun.
Yeah. It didn't feel fun when I said it, but but what's interesting though is like, okay, so stretching, super important. Have like 3 days of good stretching a week, a small lifting routine, something, even if it's like body weight, and some sort of cardio a couple days. About 20 minutes a session will do. It can be an incline walk, it can be on a bike, whatever works for you. But the people who don't do that, the people are like, I'm gonna just eat Taco Bell the same way I did when I was like 17, and I'm just gonna whatever happens. My sleep schedule is shit, like whatever.
And you can't do that anymore. I would give that number 27, to where it's like your body starts fighting back on that.
I don't even know if it's that high, but when I look around and see people, a lot of people in our age group, I mean, they look awful. Like they look really, really bad.
Yeah.
There's a dating app thing that I had like downloaded a couple years ago and like looked at, and it was just like, here are some people in your area. And like, look, there were so many people that I swear to God, I seen them and I was like, how are they not like 50 plus? You know what I mean? And they're like, this person is a year younger than you. I'm like, can't be.
In San Diego? Was it in San Diego?
Oh, it's, I think like for the hell of it, like I had looked like between both, but I'm just saying, like my brother, one of my brothers, I don't want to say which one and put him on blast, but they've been on there, before, and they've like sent me like things that they see, and I'm just like, good grief, Now, again, I'm not here to like shame on that. Like that could be a skincare routine, which is something that I've recently, last couple of years have gotten more into, but like not really relevant. Like right now, we're just mostly talking about like taking care of like your body and mind, and it's just like, if you don't use it, like literally, like you will lose it. Like if you don't put in some effort. I think when people think about fitness, they're just like, oh, I don't want to join the gym and, go in. Like you don't have to go every day. You don't have to train like an athlete. If this is about, we're just talking about, well-being and stuff like that. But I mean, I think there's a lot that we can discuss like on this topic. So if either one of you want to jump in, I'll back off.
Well, let me ask you, what is your number one reason for working out still? Because, and what is it now? Because I know it changed over the years. It has to, because we're older. But what's your number one reason to keep going to the gym? You go 5 times a day, 6 times a day?
A week?
A week? Right.
A week? Yeah. A week. I mean,
so I do. No, it's Tino, so it could be 6 times a day.
Yeah, I got to do my 4 days.
It's not too far out of line.
So I will answer both questions before prefacing that with a fuck you. So I typically go 6 days a week. Technically I work out 7, but like that 7th is really just like a easy cardio day. I'll read a book and I'll just walk like on an incline for like an hour.
Okay.
So that's, count it if you want to, but I mean, I guess it does count. It's just like a super easy day for me. But the rest I have split into 2 sessions. So it'll be 20 to 30 minutes of like some sort of cardio, like an incline walk or something. And then my other session will usually be about an hour of lifting weights.
Okay.
And I have my group split up throughout the week. Why do I do this? First and foremost, I want to look good naked. You know what I mean? Like,
he said, like, I need that.
If I'm single as a Pringle, but if I get into a serious relationship, I want to confidently hang up mirrors all over the bedroom.
Yeah. And like, if you're single and you're looking, it's definitely a good move to be doing that. It's definitely a good way to spend your free time.
But like jokes aside though, like I do think that there is a confidence that you want to have like in your own in your own skin or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
So
Right.
it's I don't mean like, I mean like what I meant was true, but at the same time, I don't mean it in like that shallow way. When I say that, it's like, so maybe not necessarily naked, but maybe like, your buddy's like, hey man, let's go to the pool today. Now I definitely have, and it comes and goes, like, different levels, like body dysmorphia. But like, if we're going to a hot tub or a pool or something, I want to confidently, be able to take my shirt off. Like, not that I need to look any type of way. I'm not trying to impress anybody, but like, I don't want to feel like, God, can we just get in the water? God, you know what I mean?
Right.
Like, I want to feel like, just comfortable in my own skin to the best of my ability. I don't need to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or whatever. It's not that. It's just, like when you haven't put in any work, when you're like, damn, man, like the pool's coming and I've been eating pizza every weekend for 6 months.
Sounds like it's a you thing, it's just for you to be comfortable, you to feel better, and ultimately you'll feel better and have a better time going into that hot tub. So like, I get that. I get that completely. Like, if that's something that you see yourself in the mirror and like, man, I could fix this. I could clear this up. You got acne, like, I could do this, or you got a gut, I can do something about this. And when you do, you'll feel better. My thing is, when people work out, and especially when we get older, your routine changes, things change. What's sustainable? Like, can a person really, like Tino, obviously his lifestyle is around it, but if you have somebody that just wants to work out, they go to the gym, they don't know what to do. They fall off. It's just too stressful. They don't want to go. It's not fun for one way or another. They don't like what they're doing. So, Tino, what would you tell somebody that hasn't worked out, that's never actually had a plan? A 35-year-old male that's never actually had a plan. What should they do at the gym first, 5 days a week?
I mean, I would definitely say it's baby steps, right? So one of the biggest things that people have, issues that they have is like, I don't want to go to the gym because, it's accountability. Like, it's a lot of, it's just a lot. Like, you have to now make time to do this thing and you get overwhelmed. Most men that I know go into the gym, they go straight to the goddamn bench set. They put on more weight than they can handle.
Yeah.
And they, either get hurt or they're so sore because their body's not used to it. It's like, insane. And then they come back like the next day and do it again. Like, I just got to muscle through it. Mm-hmm. Now they're really hurt. And then we won't see them again for 3 to 6 months.
Uh-huh.
And they'll pay for their membership, like, with pride. And like, like that's what, you're paying for your extra weight at this point, or, whatever. So that's not the way to do it. What I tell people is try, like, depending on your, level of fitness and commitment or how much is going on in your life, start with 2 days. Pick 2 days a week. Don't think about like, try to have a day in between, for some rest at minimum, but like whatever works best for you, whatever time, just do your best to get in there for 2 days and start that commitment with like, you know what, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to spend at least 30 minutes, just a half hour, and stick with it. And
what are they doing those 2 days? What would you have them do?
So that's the thing, is like, there's so much fitness advice out there. It's overwhelming on the internet, right? Like, it's just like, bro, like, do this, do that. So the most important thing is to start off with like an exercise that you like. It would be my thing. Pick a couple things that you like. So if you like bench set, don't kill yourself on bench. Put on enough weight where you can do, a couple of good reps, and, a minute or two can pass and you can do 3 or 4 sets. And after that, look around, find your other thing, and make that your thing for just maybe the first few weeks if you're only going for half-hour sessions 2 days a week. But then start taking stock of what you're doing, so you're on bench. You're like, yeah, that's my thing. Okay, well, bench is a chest workout. So if Monday is the day you always go in to do a little bench, maybe let's add a secondary workout to that. So look around, what are the chest exercises? Which one do you like? Because remember, you're not trying to be a bodybuilder, you're just trying to make it make sense. You're like, okay, so if it's that Monday, I'm going to do a little chest, and then maybe I'll do a little fly, see, there's so many different kinds of, there's dumbbell flies, there's a fly machine. I say start with machines. There's no shame in starting with machines if you have no idea what you're doing. There's little pictures on the side. There's no shame in it. Like, you're still going to get a great workout. And, the more advanced stuff, like that's tomorrow's problem. Like, just start getting used to this. And, maybe, you're doing that, and then you're like, okay, well, how do I work out my back? Like, my back feels weak. I'm getting older. I bend over to tie my shoes. Sometimes it's just tight. Again, maybe start with the machines. Look at the ones that have, there's a little guy on there.
You got TikTok, you got YouTube, you got so many videos that you can just try out. And if it doesn't work out, you can go to the next video. Like, you can figure it out. But I think people just get overwhelmed. And if you don't have to go to the gym, like if your doctor tells you, or your girl keeps fucking around on you, or every time you go to work you get beat up. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, men fuck around on women too, right? I just had to throw that in there because that was another indirectly sexist comment.
Yeah,
you assume there's no women listening.
That's 2 for 2. That's 2 for 2, Steve.
And I'm not here for it, bro. Like, ladies, I'm on your side, okay? You hate Steve, I hate him with you. Okay?
Yeah. All
right,
and it just slips out real quick. But like the motivation to go to the gym, like it's not even a time thing. It's just like for some people, like me, I don't like going to the gym. I do it 5 days a week, by the way. I put it on my Snapchat. It's fucking terrible. But I go to the gym 5 days a week just because I'm 35 and we're just planning ahead. It's like saving money to me. Like that money's gone. It's in the bank. I can't use it. It's nothing to me. It's the same thing with the gym. Like I don't need to impress nobody. Nobody wants to fight me no more.
Right. You say I'm past that. I'm past that point in my life. So, besides Tino, but you know.
Yeah. So like it's just me here. If I want to get stronger or I want to get fit, you know, I have genetic things. My heart, like in my family, I'm gonna have problems with it later. Let's just plan ahead and do that. But if I didn't have that, I don't think I'd be going to the gym because there's nothing like me having bigger muscles. Like it's not going to
that doesn't appeal to me. Yeah.
So I'm going to the gym for nothing, I feel like. But that's one of the problems that I struggle with going to the gym. Because if you look around, not everybody is going to the gym every day. Not everyone's going to the gym at all. And I think there's reasons for that. It's not because it's not affordable. I mean, Planet Fitness, out of all the gyms I've been to, is one of the best gyms I've been to, and it's only $10 a month here. I know that all these people, if you could like do something, some magical pill or syringe, and you could be swole and healthy, they would do it. But like they'll put in the work. It's just not worth it for some people. And I feel that. I really do. Sometimes I feel like going to the gym is just a waste of time.
Well, of course you do because you're lazy. But, you know,
I mean, I could do other stuff. Like I can do work around the house. I can even.
Here's one of the things that I actually heard this on a different podcast a few weeks ago. Well, partially, but I really like it resonated with me quite a bit. One of the things that I like about the gym is, for me, over the last couple of years, first, let's be transparent about some stuff. I found out that like I have ADHD, which was not a surprise. And I found out that I have a lot of coping mechanisms that are essentially healthy mechanisms that I figured out how to get through it. But now that I'm aware of it, these are things that I can work on and kind of improve a little bit, right? So it's not just like a shot in the dark. I actually know what I'm doing here. But what I like for fitness is, prior to getting into fitness, my life was in complete disarray. I got things done. I was just grasping at straws. Like my car would be a complete mess because, I was always jumping in it and racing off to something, showing up late. It's a mess, I'm running out of there. I would go take classes at school. Like, I'm on my way to a date. I forgot I had a date. Like it was just all over the place. Like everything was just dissolving into pieces. And it was just chaos. And what happened with, the gym is like, okay, so rolling back to what I said earlier, you pick 2 days a week. Those 2 days, start consistency. I want to plan around them. So now I have like a loose time frame that I intend to go every single time. And 2 days turns into 4 days, and 4 days turns into set routines that are going to be done each day. And then there's an order for like the muscle groups that I'm working on. Now, fast forwarding, maybe a few weeks, months, whatever. Now I'm looking at like diet. So I don't want my diet to be like perfect. Like I'm not training to be a bodybuilder, but I need to do better, right? Like I'm all over the place. I'm eating when I can, what I can. I don't know if it's going to be like, old leftovers, Welch's, fruit snacks or, whatever I can get my hands on. But that's not ideal, right? That's messy. So, you start looking at different food groups, things with more proteins, you start getting your diet in order. You start having a loose limit to how much you'll eat a day. So you're no longer gaining weight and you're putting more good stuff in there. But what happens is like, okay, so now my diet's getting organized. My schedule is like, my life is slowly getting organized in order to accommodate the gym. So now, like, the gym gets done. So I know what's going to happen before I go to the gym. I know what I'm going to do after the gym. So I'm like, okay, and then just more and more stuff starts happening across the board. Like the schedule just gets more and more organized and my life starts getting tighter and in place, and my focus is just better. And that is, one of the things that like I didn't expect when I got into training. But I mean, like, hell, even like looking at my room right now, like say what you want, but I mean, like, look, everything is tight, right? Like exactly in place. It's clean. And like, that's all from, having these schedules. Like I even have a schedule in my calendar now. It's like, okay, so it's Wednesday, before it gets too late, we're going to make sure that we, run the vacuum through here. Like everything is set on a schedule. My sheets, I'm like, okay, these have been up here for a week. It's Saturday. So Saturday mornings, that's when I swap out the sheets, and whatever. But like that all came initially from getting into fitness. Before that, like I would try everything and I just couldn't do it. But like, and I'm not the only person that's heard this. And also to add to that, my attractiveness, for, the opposite sex when I'm looking for a partner largely depends on somebody who is a little bit into fitness. One, because they understand me, but two, because I know that like you have goals, you're oriented, you're not going to be as messy. You're going to check me. You're like, hey, you know what? It's midnight. And I noticed that, a couple days ago, like you ate a bunch of donuts, like after midnight, like, once a week. Cool. That's fine. But like, let me check you. I mean, honestly, though, like, but it is, though, because it's like for me anyways, that may not be for everybody, but there's like a level of respect because she's checking like my level of self-control in my organization. And that's something that like, I hope to, of course, in respectful ways, like, do that for them. I want accountability. And that's something that I think when you're talking to somebody that's into that, they're usually much more disciplined. Like think about all the people that that are like really into fitness. Usually, like for the most part, not always, but for the most part, their lives are pretty in line,
Yeah, but I'll draw the line at you telling me I can't have donuts after midnight. Like you got some nerve. I get it. You know what I mean? You got the round bottom. You know what I mean? Like I get it.
I didn't say that she said you couldn't. I said that she said you did it earlier this week.
So she's just like, hey, babe, that's twice this week. You better watch it. She gonna hit you with the Pillsbury belly poke. Like I don't know if I like that.
Like one of those is cute. 2 or 3 is like, you know what I mean?
Are you one of those dudes that are constantly hitting on women on the gym while they're trying to do their work?
No, I would never bother somebody at the gym. I mean, I've tried to like do things, like where I try to be supportive of people at the gym and just make conversation. But even then, like I try not to do too much,
Hey, baby, you need a spot.
Yeah, brother. So like I might see somebody where I'm like, oh, that's a dope shirt, or something like that. Like if it's something that like I super like or whatever. But like outside of something really, really, really subtle, I don't say more than like, hey, how many more sets do you got? Just no rush, but like I'm going to do this other thing if you're going to be a while and I'll come check back with you. Like that's about the most that I'll ever say at the gym. I don't bother people. It's their safe space. They shouldn't have to feel uncomfortable at the gym. Like ideally, like, yeah, for a partner, it would be great to meet somebody that is into it, but like also same breath, talking to somebody at the gym is one of the worst things you can do. Like even me, like I don't want to be bothered. It's like it's like it would be kind of cool sometimes, but at the same time, I'm like,
I'm here to work. I'm trying to do something.
Like I'm sweaty, yeah. I'm focused. Like catch me on my way out the door. Maybe that.
Yeah. What about you, Steve? Do you talk to people while you're at the gym?
All the time. I pass by. People say hi. They say hi. The guy fist bump.
What's going on, boss?
Yeah. I mean, people just smile at each other there, and it's like I got no problem with it. I'm not hitting on nobody, so I got the courage to be like, hey, what's up? How you doing? Everything good? All right.
No, I'm locked in. I've never spoke to anybody at the gym, but I also go at like stupid hours. Like I go late. I don't go like during the normal time. You know what I mean? So I prefer it being 3 other people in the gym, and that's it. Like that's my happy space.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like,
yeah, I like a full gym. I love it.
What's wrong with you, Steve? Everything you say makes me want to just punch you. He's like, I talk to everybody. I'm like, okay, hate that. Absolutely hate you. And he's like, and when it's so full and sweaty and you can't breathe, because I don't care about like trying to get on any specific piece of equipment. When I'm there for a short time, not a long time. Or like, what do you like? What are you doing?
So let me tell you about that because I gotta
we are opposite.
I got a schedule. I got a resume. What I'm doing that week is what I'm putting on there. So if somebody's on my machine, I just do another chest workout. And I've taken the time. Planet Fitness has those barcodes now. So you scan it and it shows you exactly how to do it. So you can do all these like new age machines, but there's always something for 2 chest workouts or 2 back workouts. So if somebody's on it, it's not a big deal. It's like, all right, I like that one. I'm not waiting though. Let's go over there. That one's not available too. Well, I seen this workout. Let me go do it. All right. Everyone's over in that area. Let me try something else. So there's always been something to do, and it's never been that deep for me to go 2 or 3 machines down. Mm-hmm. And that's just over time. That was just me going and just working things out. Because when I first got there, I had no plan. I was just going 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, an hour. I'm here. So what am I going to do? All right, I want to do some cardio. What's the best way to do that? 40 minutes, 25 minutes. I can still run. Should I run? There's nothing wrong with my knees. The bike, I don't really like. I just walk as fast as I can before I have to run for 30 minutes. And that's a happy medium. That's how I get the most out of my cardio without it, being a problem, for me disliking it too much. But as for the lifting, I want to attack everything at least twice a week. So there's times where I go 7 times a week, but I never stay past an hour. Like I never do it. So that first 30 minutes is just me lifting, doing my 5 sets as fast as possible, no less than 13, no more than 20, like 30 or 45-second breaks. And by the time I'm done with that, I can do my cardio 30 minutes and get out of there in an hour. And it's like it never happened. I leave, I feel accomplished, it's done. I can move on with my day. I don't schedule it. Like I don't go to the gym every day at 2. I just be like, all right, let me get this hour done. I'll do it before I go to bed today. I'll just go in there, get my hour done. Now it's done for the day. Tomorrow's going to be a new day. I don't plan things like Tino does, even though it seems to be working out for him. There's things that can come up. People need me. All right. I can cancel the gym. It's not a big deal to me. But if I'm available for that hour, I'm going to make it. So I don't make the gym a priority, but I did make a priority to actually learn what I'm supposed to do in there.
Well, I think for me, like a lot of like my mentality and part of the reason that I have like body dysmorphia, because like I really like even now, like I'm not happy with myself, and like that's a real thing. And they say that's a thing with like, people that get into fitness in general. But like for me, I grew up in a household that, I used to sink. We actually talked about this in the previous podcast. A lot of like my woes, like went into video games. Like that was a safe place for me. But there's a few things that happen with that. And maybe some gamers can relate to an extent, it's not
right.
Copy paste, but that was my happy place because I got bullied a lot. I had a very dysfunctional family where I couldn't, I had a hard time like processing and internalizing things. And I just kind of wanted to be out of sight and escape. Now, when you are doing something like that, like now you're not outside running around and, burning calories. What kid is thinking about that? But that's a thing that like happens. Okay. So like you're sitting, you're stagnant. In addition to that, food became a place that like I would, go to help with a lot of those stresses and, frustrations like on a day to day. So now I've got 2 things that like are comforting me, but are working against my health.
Yeah. And you were pretty big too.
Yeah. I definitely, had put on some weight and like it kind of came and went over the years. But the thing is like, that just kind of happened like organically, at different periods of my life and, getting out more and doing it. But there wasn't a lot of like focus, like there wasn't a purpose in that. Like it just kind of happened until I started to get to an age, I would say like late teens, early 20s, where, your body is kind of like, like starting to chill out.
Well,
you know what I mean? Like
also there wasn't
not as fast.
There wasn't an education either. Like, when a kid gets fat, they don't know what to do.
Well, I don't think that the education necessarily matters. You know what I mean? It's just like yourself. Like you can tell, like, yo, I'm big and I'm sitting on my ass and I'm not doing anything, and it's not like I needed a perfect diet plan or anything. It's just like, what I'm saying is like, it was obvious you're not doing anything and you're eating everything. So
go ahead.
My thing is like, it like when people get to a certain point where they're getting like big, it's just like, it shouldn't hurt to exist. You know what I mean? Like, that's what I'm like, that's a problem. Like that, it kind of scares me. You know what I mean? Like for people that I know and like that I care about, it's like, I get it. Okay. You've always been bigger. That's fine. But like, it shouldn't hurt to just fucking sit up and like try to roll out of bed. Like that's tough, man.
I totally agree with that. But like, I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't have to necessarily be that to have the issues that like I'm trying to tell you guys about, So like I went through, I probably really needed therapy at the time, but that's a whole different conversation. But I was like really down on myself, you know? So I wasn't even anywhere close to being like extremely overweight or like morbidly obese, but I was so much bigger than like all my friends and the people around me. So like
you shopped in the Huskies section. I get it. I was there.
Yeah, but like by comparison, I mean, you know, it's like, okay, it is what it is, but like I'm like, it had insane levels of depression accompanied with it. I had zero confidence in talking to women. Going back to like, you know, we were saying earlier, like, yeah, you know, I want to feel good like naked, you know, by the pool or whatever. Like that was completely out. Like I didn't even want to, you know, take all the mirrors down, dude. I didn't want to see a glimpse of me, you know, getting dressed or something. Like I embarrassed me. Like I hated it. And it was so bad for so long. And you just don't really know what to do about it, you know? And then when people make like little jokes that are, you know, like, you know, look at your belly or, you know, whatever, it's just like, you smile, but inside, like I'm screaming, fuck you. What gives you the right to talk about me like that? You know what I mean? It's always, you know what I mean? Like you're going nuts, but you're just like, you know, and but it's so depressing and frustrating. So it took such a long time to, you know, eventually, you know, start trying things and researching and actually putting in the effort to fix it. Because, you know, when you're really that down and out, like you just don't care anymore. You know, you just want to fall into more video games and like, you know, all this kind of stuff. And it's just like, it doesn't always have to be that thing. But I feel like that mentality, like it could have gone away from me where instead of deciding to do something about it, I could have gone down the path of like really doubling down to where you do wake up one day and you're like, oh my goodness, like, how did I gain 200 extra pounds or whatever? Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like it really could have went that way for me.
Yeah. And a kid that like that goal of them being happy with their body is so far, like they can't even begin to imagine it. And it's like, all right, you got a kid that's heavy, you know, what do you tell him? Eat less food and go work out. Well, what exactly does that mean? For one, he's a kid. His mom cooks, probably doesn't know the first thing about being healthy. And work out, what does that mean? He's gonna, if he does go to the gym, like he's gonna go to the bench every day. He's gonna get burnt out and he's not gonna go and he's gonna feel like there's no hope. I feel like that's what happens to a lot of people, especially the people like Jay said, the people that are just in pain. Like there's plenty of ways for them to get on the road to being healthier, but where do they start? And how long is that gonna take? Nobody tells them. Nobody gives them a picture.
I mean, it's a lifetime. That's not a you know, how long it's going to take. It has to be a lifestyle change at that point.
It has to be sustainable, and that's one of my biggest things. Why, you know, you only see sometimes 6 people in the gym. You know how many people live around you?
Hey, and that's me. I'm one of those 6. That's my time. I'm like, that's perfect.
Well, I think it's an important moment for me to interject, though. So to that point, for anybody who is listening out there, who is actively trying to make some sort of a change and you're not,
you can do it.
I mean, maybe
to some extent they can. He's right. Start small, like you said.
Well, it's not that, but like what I'm saying is around maybe 15 or 16, I had gotten like my first gym membership and I went for a couple of years and I didn't know what I was doing. And I kind of did that thing where I'd go for maybe like a month at the most at a time, and there'd be zero changes in anything. Like it didn't make sense to me, but I lacked the knowledge. And you know, my biggest issue was that like I'm lifting weights and I'm doing all this cardio, and I just wanted the fat to go away, and it wasn't. And this went on for a couple of years. This like horrible thing where like I go in, I'm like really doubling down, nothing's happening. You know, I stick it out. So instead of 4 weeks, maybe I'm there for 6. Nothing's happening. I give up. 2 months go by. I'm depressed again. I go back, and it was this cycle. When I finally started making changes that made me happy, I actually quit the gym. I started doing research, and I had actually signed up for Weight Watchers. It was relatively inexpensive, and I was like, you know what? If the problem is not this, like if this isn't fixing it, the only other thing like it could probably be is like my eating habits, right?
Oh yeah, you put me onto it. That worked. Weight Watchers definitely works.
Oh, well, yeah, and it's like in the grand scheme of things, it's one of many tools. So I'm not like trying to be an advocate for Weight Watchers, you know, because like for what I do right now with like lifting weights, like Weight Watchers doesn't work for me for macro reasons, you know, levels of protein, carbohydrates, the amount of fiber, like there's a lot of things. I'm not getting into all those details, but if you're just somebody trying to get into it and you're spinning your wheels, it's probably because of what's happening in the kitchen. So with Weight Watchers, I spent my first week on it, a decade ago, and I didn't, follow the diet. What I did was I wrote down everything that I ate normally and then went back into Weight Watchers and was like, okay, what kind of damage am I doing to myself? And I was eating almost 5 times what they recommended me to eat on a daily basis. And this is when I thought I was doing good, right? So I'm like, Jesus Christ, you know? So the after that week, I'm like, I'm going to follow the plan. Eat whatever I want, but within these portions. Started doing it. First day was very rough. I ate too much too early. Now I'm starving. I had headaches. The first week was tough. But at the end of the first week, I lost like 4 pounds with 0 exercise. Like 4 pounds. Like what? You know, and a part of that is like water weight. It's your body, you know, flushing stuff out. You know, sure, your metabolism is just like breathing again for the first time, but it kept happening. Some weeks it was a pound. Some weeks it was 3 pounds. But like it just kept going. And I lost like 50 pounds in 3 months. And what I started doing is started doing just some push-ups at home, like every other day, because I didn't know any better, like some crunches, maybe 15 minutes a day. And I would go on like a 20-minute jog or a walk around the neighborhood. And I lost so much weight. And after that, that's when I started getting into the gym. So just my thing is like, if you're in that position that I was in and nothing's working and you don't have a lot of money, maybe try a diet program like Weight Watchers. There's, you know, it's like $20 a month, I think, you know, just.
And now they have recipes. They'll give you tips like, you know, hot sauce. Hot sauce is your best friend. It's 0. And they'll give you the fruits that are in your best interest. And, you know, just ways to, like, if you're struggling with hunger, they can help you with that. If you're struggling with dinner, they can help you with that. You can even put in what you got and they can give you recipes for it. So the app is really, really good right now. I mean, I don't know how much it is. I think it was like 20 a month or 40 a month. It was something like that.
No, they're usually about $20 a month for like the online tracking app. But the thing is, there's a lot of different apps. There's even free ones that you can do. I'm just, Weight Watchers is what I did at that time. I don't use it now. But at that time, it helped me out a lot. And that was the first thing where like I lost so much weight. Like for the first time, I had this level of confidence that I had never had in my life. You know, I'm putting on clothes that are twice as small as they used to be. And again, I wasn't even like morbidly obese, but like I'm all of a sudden like, you know, the cool hip jeans, you know, that like they never made because of like my waist size. Like now I can fit those, you know, the t-shirts, you know, like all of a sudden, like, you know, I can wear them. Or, you know, on a chilly day, because I had so much extra body fat, I'd be like, I'm fine. What's wrong with you guys? But I'm like, it is kind of cold outside. I need a sweater. But, you know, like stuff like that, cosplaying, you know, was a whole other thing where like, I'm not saying like I was still nervous about getting into it. But before that, I didn't want to be the fat guy cosplayer again. And I'm not shaming anybody else. This is about how I felt about myself. That kind of mean, in my opinion. Because that's how I felt about me. I'm like, I don't, you know what I mean? I didn't want to, you know, be that. And sure, there's like, I just needed the confidence. Like you could be that guy. Some people look however they look and they have all this confidence.
Dude, I know a lot of fat guys that pull in women all the time. They pull in chicks all the time.
Why is it always women with you? I really just want to like choke you out. I'm just saying like my confidence and embarrassment. I wasn't like saying like pulling somebody in, but just like I felt insecure about the way that I looked in like, you know, a tight Spider-Man outfit. You know what I mean? I felt like it was hugging me in all the wrong places. And I was like, this is embarrassing and I don't want to do it. But like when I lost like the weight, and I wasn't even like skinny, but like now I'm like, you know what? Like, I don't care because like whatever I was, this is an improvement from where I was at. And now I feel confident, you know, and I'm doing it. Run me the black Spider-Man costume because it makes me look thinner, but I like the way that it made me feel.
Right. And you know, if you worked hard to get there and I'm sure it felt good, but say you were you're going to do this for the rest of your life. You're going to work out, you're going to bulk, you're going to cut, you're going to fast, you're going to eat protein chips and protein dip and whatever you do. And like down the line, do you think this is going to be a sustainable way to live? Because I know you spend a lot of hours at the gym. Like, is this a permanent thing? Or do you see yourself like, all right, I'm doing this now. I think when I get older, I'm just going to switch to walks or, you know, I'm going to. No,
this will always be for me. I mean, so things adapt as you move along. You know, when I first was like really in the weight training, I'd go in for 2 hours a day, like no problem. I had zero obligations. You know, it was easy. You know, at this point in my life, I have a lot of, you know, things that I'm working on. I'm not married. I don't have any children. You know, so I have a little bit more flexibility than some adults, but at the same time, like you just accommodate. So it's like, all right, if, you know, 2 hours a day isn't going to work, you know, can I make it work where I have 30 minutes a day? And how do I capitalize on that and make the most of the time that I have? Is it better to have 3 days a week, you know, where I, you know, do some intense body weight at home trainings or get a little bit of equipment here because getting to the gym every day away from my family or away from work isn't an option. You just, you know, kind of see what makes it work. So like, for instance, like right now, my lunch breaks, I'll usually, you know, I work from home. I sit in the chair most of the day. I don't do a lot. So that whole hour, if I can help it, like I'll just go on walks. Sometimes I'll call like, you know, Jay, I'm like, hey, what's up, man? You got some time? I'm like doing an intense walk and out here and I'm getting some exercise in, and that's the best time for me to do that. And then after work, you know, I know I'll have about 2 hours to get 45 minutes in or so to lift some weights. So wherever that lands is what I do. And sure, I could keep doing more, but like it's just going to cause problems in my busy adult life. And you just, you know what I mean? You just make it work.
Yeah. And I mean, at this point, I feel like you're so deep, you're so entrenched that you'll find a way to make it work. And it's been sustainable, and you'll be able to keep it going. Like with me, I work at a desk. I'm not at home, but I work at a desk. I have a standing desk at work. So I'll do that. I'll just be standing around. I'll be pacing in the office. I have a bike that I'll ride around through the warehouse. You know what I mean? I'm like, please don't run me over on the forklift. But it's so far so good. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I do a lot of that throughout the week. It's just, I feel like you're once you get like, you're locked in, you're 100% locked in, you're deeper, you're like 3 levels past where I'm at. I'm not doing the macros. I'm not really worried about, like, my diet is pretty good. I never really ate too terribly. Like when I was in my 20s, my midnight snacks would be salads. You know what I mean? Like I kind of always been weird like that. But of course I would, you know, get drunk and make bad decisions sometimes. But sure. You know, I never like, the diet was never really my issue. And starting off, I did not go to the gym when I first lost my weight. You know what I mean? I had you know, like I said, I was husky growing up.
You're pretty big. I saw
Yeah,
pictures.
yeah. Like, you know, and I'll just jump rope. I had a punching bag in the garage. I'll hit that, you know, maybe an hour a day, or not, you know, not every day, obviously, but I'll do that and I'll jump rope. And that's how I pretty much all fell off. And then now I'm trying to, you know, find different things. And definitely, like you said, Steve, just find something that you like. Find something that you actually like, that you think you can do. And that's how you make it sustainable, is that you do something that you like, not that you know, I don't know how you're going to force yourself to do it, since you say that you hate going to the gym so much. But obviously there's something that you like there. It has to be something that you're enjoying.
I'd rather be doing a million different things. But the thing I enjoy about going to the gym is saying that I went to the gym. That's it.
And that's it. Well,
that's all.
I say it'd be the results too, you know.
Well, like you know, if Sam was like, hey, you know, you need to start taking care of yourself, then like, all right, I can't have this, I gotta go. You know, she doesn't care. Or if you know, some guy at work keeps fucking with me, I'm like, all right, he doesn't respect me. I gotta take care. I gotta do something about this. You know, but you know, none of that shit matters to me at this point in life. Maybe it will later, but right now there's really no reason for me to spend time doing something I don't enjoy when I can do a million different things that I do enjoy. Now, it is healthier, you know, drink lots of water and say your prayers and Flintstone vitamins. It is healthier. It is good for you. And that means you're a good person. And that's what people think. But like for me, going to the gym is just like, it's a tool, and people use it for different things, for different agendas. You know, there's men out there that like to look better than other men because it feels like you're better than them. And that's okay.
Right. They need that. They need that.
And that's okay. I like that. I think it motivates other men around you if you do that. But for me, like it's just.
So here's the thing. I don't think that there's anything wrong, but like, I feel like we're veering into like 2 different kinds of conversations. Right. So, you know, one conversation can be had that like, you know, do what you got to do, you know, do the basics, you know, or whatever. But like, as you know, as Steven's talking, you know, and I find myself just being like, it wouldn't be me, you know, it's like how I'm feeling. And like, I think that the other side, which is not important to him, to be clear, but like for me, there's a level of respect that I indirectly give to people that I know that are working out. Not just because of the scheduling and stuff like that, but because I know that you've got your shit together when it comes to a certain level of discipline for yourself. You'll never utter words like, and again, not to use you an example, but we're going to use you as an example.
Go ahead. Come on.
I would never utter words or want to be around somebody that consistently is like, oh, I would rather do anything else but this thing. Fuck that. What I like about the gym so much is the gym is, when you're working on your shape and your figure, like when you decide to get to a point where you're going beyond just the absolute basics and bare bones, right?
Uh-huh.
You can't buy like like a body, you know what I mean? Like you can get like artificial surgeries and shit, sure, but like it's not like legitimate. It's insanely expensive and it's going to fade. But there are just things that you can do, you know, when you take control of yourself, where it's like there's no thing that you just go out and do real quick. You know, it's not like, oh, I make this much money, so I'm in great shape. It doesn't work that way. You have to be dedicated. You have to show up every day. You have to be like, okay, I'm going to have self control. And there's just a level of respect that I have indirectly for people that do that. Like, and it's funny because it's never at like the forefront of my mind. But for instance, like I met with a coworker the other day and we were talking about fitness, and you know, he was telling me like, yeah, I train, you know, and like he kind of said it like it was nothing, but I'm looking at him like, no, dude, I know fitness, I know training. Like, am I bigger than him? Sure, but like not by much. Like, this dude was in great shape, and I'm like, no, man. And he's like running me through his routines. I'm like, okay, so you train, like you're about that life. He's like, yeah, and I kind of laughed like internally because I'm like, this is why we like clicked initially. You know what I mean? There was like you ever seen Full Metal Alchemist where you've got the two dudes that are like shaking hands? Yeah. So it's so funny, but like that situation, that's that mutual respect that somebody who's really addicted to the gym, like that's a thing that like they do. It happens all the time. You know?
Well, I mean that does make sense. Like when you see somebody, you square him up. Like, can I beat his ass? Is he an asshole? Like, does he have money? Is this going to be a problem? You know, stuff like that.
I mean, you never know. And again, like I'm not like, you know, putting things down, you know, like we started this off, I think, with like a certain scope.
No, I think that's an important thing you said though, is like,
I think, yeah, mentioning it is important. Like there's like that other level, like Jay was like the macros and all that, and that's okay. But for the ones that do, I'm like, I see you, bro. I noticed that you
said, I see you.
And it makes sense for somebody that goes to the gym a lot to, you know, put a value on that for when they meet other people. I think that's completely normal. I don't think there's any problem with that. But I also think that like people that want to give respect want to get it as well, which, you know, I'm neither. Like a quick story today, I went out to eat and I paid. Me and my buddy went and we had cash. We tipped in cash and then we paid in our card. And then the receipts came back and, you know, we put 0 tip, both of them. And I'm like, I'm going to just crop it. I'm going to put that we didn't tip her and say that she was a terrible waitress. And then all the people on Facebook think I didn't tip her and they get upset and it's funny. And some of them know that I'm fucking with them, but they still got to say something. And like, you know, the one guy was in there and it's like, man, you're embarrassing yourself. You know, you need to support these waitresses. They're out here working. And you shouldn't be doing that to people. That I'm like, shut the fuck up. I don't care about, in this point, I don't need respect. Like all these guys doing these things to get respect from other men, that's fine. I mean, I have enough men in my life that I respect, and the ones that I don't, I simply don't. And it's like, if I ever run out of men that I don't respect, I'll just go out and get more men that I respect. It's like, I just, that's not me. And I do appreciate people that do that, but that's just not me.
So I just wanted to say that it's okay to respect women as well, Steve.
I've been talking him up this whole podcast. He was the one that's getting upset when you bring him up. He's like, oh, another woman.
He was like, I'm not tipping these waitresses. I was like, there are waiters. There are waiters too. I wasn't gonna say it. Jay
I was at Hooters. They don't got those there.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, they don't got Hooters. They don't got male waiters. You imagine going to Hooters and you got Buddy coming up taking your order? It's like, all right, well. What are you going to do?
Man.
You know what? One time for the one time. Let me see what the experience is like. You know what I mean? Because
right.
at that point,
came for the wings, stayed for the thighs. You know what I'm saying?
I'm like, I can tell you work out. You're getting an extra tip, homie.
Whoa.
Right? You want to talk about sports or anime? What do you got?
No diddy, as the kids say. I have a question directed at both of you, and you know I can speak on it as well. But to ask you guys. So since the Nintendo Wii came out, and I do feel like we should be encompassing some more, video game lingo in here. It's got me thinking. There's been a push in the video game industry to start utilizing more, fitness type things. So this is important because, when I brought up that video games were this place for me where I, found solitude and happiness, that's sure. But like there were negative, side effects to that. And I don't think that that's for everybody. I don't think there's any harm in normally playing video games. This was a psychological thing that I dealt with. And I know there's a lot of people that can attest. But my thing is like, let's look at it. Let's look at like Dance Dance Revolution when it was, more popular at one time. Let's look at the VR games, the fitness stuff, and, just moving around, all these things. Does this have a place in the video game industry? And if so, is the direction that they're currently going in healthy? Is there any, anything appealing about these sort of things and these formats for like fitness games that work for you, or does it feel like they're pushing too hard? Like, what do you guys think? Just whatever your organic thoughts are.
I think if you sell like I own a VR set, so if you sell a game, which they do, just for solely exercise, like go ahead and punch, and you punch the circles or you punch the balls. A lot of people don't want to do that. That's not, they don't want to get up and just do that just because
it's too much. It's too much work. It's not. You gotta hide it. You kind of hide it behind, hey, it's
Beat
fun.
Saber.
Yeah, we could jump around and dance. That's more okay. I'm willing to do that.
Once you get good at Beat Saber, or you're playing Populous 1 and you got a good crew, it's like you take that headset off and it's sticking to you. You're like, man, that was real. That was intense. And then you get nauseous because you've been in VR for like an hour. But it's like you get a massive workout from Beat Saber, because if you don't, you lose. So if you want to win, you better rise to that challenge. And they kind of like sneak in fitness, and you got to move your body. You got to move your hands. You got to do this at the same time. And if you were just to put up there, like, buy this yoga mat, buy this game, get to level 1, which is this pose.
All right, guys.
No one wants to do that shit.
Sumo squat position. Yeah. I can see that. Not for the masses, it won't be as big, like the Just Dance and Dance Revolution and all that.
Right.
I feel like that would be more the way to go to be more widespread. And I can tell from experience, not even myself, but the kids. My daughter, she goes over to her grandma's house, and her cousins come over, and they love playing that. They love to run around and dance. And even if they're not playing, they're on the sidelines just dancing. Even though, you know what I mean? Like, even though they're not like actually holding the controller, but they still jamming. They got YouTube videos where it's a guy, he's singing and stuff, and he's trying to, he's telling the kids, all right, well, do this with me. And there's like a little interactive thing where it's kind of like a dance, or you got to grab the coins on the screen and stuff like that. So that's definitely the wave, because I feel like they know that they have, with all the kids just, doing this, just being locked in on their tablets, their phone or whatever, it's definitely important for that to be a thing. So for me, I'm not really playing anything like that. Those aren't my games at this moment in my life. I would much rather just go do something like actually, but for the kids, I think it's great. I love it. I like, and I see it firsthand. So I'm a believer. I'm a fan. Let's keep it going.
I think those are all good points. For me, I think that everything you guys said, probably more so Jay, in the sense of like, having that as an option and it tricking them is great. As an adult, for me personally, like, I don't like being tricked into doing those games. Mm-hmm. It's not that like I won't, but because I already do all these other things in my life, like when I'm ready to like sit down, get comfortable in game, like I don't want to do that stuff. But I actually really enjoy like the VR like fitness programs and stuff, because if I'm like working from home, if I don't have enough time to like go out on a full walk, I'm like, oh man, I got like 15 minutes and that's it, and I don't want to time it. I just kind of want to be here. I don't want to, maybe the weather's bad, maybe it's raining, whatever the case may be. So I can pop on the VR. I have like a couple of really good like kickboxing games and stuff, and like I like all the tools that like checking heart rate and all that stuff. And so for me, like I can get in there, I can get a good workout in with this very specific thing, and then I feel better about myself. But like if I'm, like I love Beat Saber, but I'm not gonna feel like I did the same thing. Like my brain is just like, I played a video game and now I'm tired, as opposed to like I did a workout using my VR. Like it's just, again, it's to each their own. But I think the most important thing is that I love that there just are options, because there's different things that work for different people. And the whole purpose here is to get you to move around using video games. And that's a beautiful thing I think we can agree on.
So there's a game that Jay seen me stream a long time ago, Paint the Town Red. You remember that, Jay?
Yeah. Yep.
Tino might have dropped by once or twice too on a lunch break. And it just came out on VR last month.
Oh, nice. Okay. That'll be fun. I can see that.
So playing it and playing it on PC and the Steam Deck, and then you put on the VR and you see the difference in what you have to do and your reaction time and how you feel after. A real thing is getting on that VR, playing an hour, like the battery only lasts like an hour, maybe a little bit over, depending on what you're doing. you get off it and you're hungry. You're hungry as fuck because you've been fucking moving around nonstop and you're just starving now. And my thing is like, man, like all these games I play right here and I can play them for 6 hours. If I was doing that for 6 hours, like you might have just tricked me into doing a marathon and I didn't even know it because I was having so much fun playing Paint the Town Red, you know, throwing pool cues at, you know, people at the bar. And it's, if you can do something like Tino says that there's a difference from playing Beat Saber and doing, you know, a game that's specifically for working out. I think that depending on how you play these games and if this is all you do, you're going to get a benefit from all of that. Like if you just put on VR and you don't play nothing else on your PC, you're going to be feeling good. You're going to get that cardio up. You might even get some muscle out of that. That Beat Saber gets rough.
He said it gets tough. What's the high score you get? How you be doing, man?
Oh, me and my daughter are on Hardened Expert, and that's the walls. Okay. You got to watch the directions of the beats. You got to move out of the way. You got to duck, and like my back will hurt. Like that's a real thing. My back will hurt after playing that because you're just moving so fast and so rough, and you're focused and you're breathing. Because if you don't breathe, you lose focus, and it's a weird thing. Because if you do like hold your breath, you can't see what you're doing. So. It's definitely a fitness model playing Beat Saber. Tino, I got a question for you.
Sure.
Do you not respect anybody that juices?
I don't.
Not at all?
I wouldn't say not at all because they're, you know, just because somebody is using a certain type of steroids, and there's a lot of different types of steroids, there's different reasons. Some of them even have medical conditions. So it's like, I don't come and judge, you know, but I don't have an issue for people that use it and admit it. I do have an issue with people that use it and lie about it.
The Rock is natural. How do you feel about that?
He's not natural. You can look at him and immediately tell that he's not. And that's, but that's the problem, right? So there's certain people where it's like, look, if you're going to use it, maybe look, if you don't want it to sound so bad, maybe say that you're using more of a basic type of steroid or whatever. But like the thing is you gain like 5 to 10 times more muscle with almost no training. There's been studies, depending on the type of steroid that you're using, in insane amounts of time compared to somebody, you know, who's not. And there's a whole lot of health risks associated, whatever. But when you're a fitness icon or people are looking up to you and they're seeking advice because they want to, you know, obtain, you know, what it is that you have. I mean, look, it's already hard because like there's genetics, there's so many factors that are outside of the gym, you know, your diet, when do you sleep, how stressed are you? But if you're taking something that's, you know, producing these insane results and you're not being honest about it, you're setting up people for failure. And that's what
ruined the Liver King.
Well, oh God, yeah. But there's always going to be some kind of like Liver King type personality, right? There's so many of these people, whether it be a movie star or, you know, an amateur bodybuilder, athletes, you know, look at, the hell was his name? Armstrong, the Viking.
Arnold.
No.
Oh, Neil.
Wait.
Yeah. So he won all these, you know, amazing races, you know, and like, so here's the thing. It's like, he was right. Well, go ahead and look it up just to fact check.
Yeah. I was like,
but it's not Arnold. No, I don't know why you even would say that. But the point of the conversation.
Yeah, it's Lance Armstrong.
Thank you. I was going to say it, but at this point, I'm like, I don't want to throw more names in the pot. And
Wait.
But the point is he was one of the most famous, like, you know, cyclists, world round, known. And he's not like, you know, like when you think of him, you don't think of him as being like a big dude, right? Like, but it was a performance enhancing drug, you know, and he was in great shape for, you know, being like a skinny, you know, more aerodynamic type guy, you know. And they're like, man, how do you do this, you know? And I believe at one point he was also like a testicle like cancer survivor, you know. So he's got like, you know, pretty important stuff, you know, like all these companies are investing in him, people are looking up to him. And then it turns out that he's been doing performance enhancing drugs the whole time.
You're a big fat phony.
You're a phony. You know, but you're setting up, you know, all these people that look up to you, you know, for failure. And it's all on a lie. Like lying in the end gets you nowhere, you know? So it's like he was at the top for a while and maybe he would have got there with steroids, maybe without. I don't, you know, who can say? But he got to where he got at, and his name is forever tarnished. You know, I remember I was in high school and I had this math teacher named Zabin. He was a math teacher, super cool dude. And he was like an older guy, like, you know, it was like he had like the George Costanza hair thing going on, but he was like old man fit, you know, and he would come into school sometimes like in his like biker outfit, like just to let you know he rode in. I was like, oh, okay, buddy. He had like pads like in his ass, things. He's like, yeah, because I do long distance. You can't let your cheeks fall asleep. I'm like, this guy's so ridiculous. But spandex like Flanders from The Simpsons, where he's just like, look at me now, and Homer's like, stupid, sexy Flanders. He'd come into class like that, but every inch of his wall, he had like Mr. Armstrong, just like, on this angle or at this angle. And he'd be like, yeah, Tour de France and like all these other, I'm not a cyclist expert. I don't know all the ins and outs of the sport, but like he knew everything. He would just talk. And when that dude got found out to be a phony, I remember after school, or maybe it was the morning, I forget, but not important. I seen him tearing down the posters and it looked like he was going to cry, And the thing is like, when we think of like, heroes and stuff, like a lot of times I think we think of, like younger kids or, like early teenagers and not sending them the wrong direction. But like, as I got older and I really sat on that, I'm like, this is a dude who probably wasn't always into this. Maybe there was an injury. Maybe his wife left him. Maybe he was overweight. I don't know. Like something traumatic probably happened to him. And he got into cycling. He probably made a bunch of cycling buddies. And, he like locked in on this guy and was like, this is who I'm going to follow. This is who I'm going to be, and turned his whole life around on this, that was like a modern day real life superhero to him. Mm-hmm. And then you find out that it's all bullshit. I couldn't imagine like how crushed like he felt. And like, this is what happens. You know what I mean? Like I think you have a certain responsibility to do better and to be better just in general, but specifically like in those positions, like, Jesus Christ. So yeah, I didn't mean like to turn this into a big answer, but I just wanted like a very honest, well thought out answer.
Yeah, it's just like when you get older, I just feel like that's something you want to do if you want to stay into the lifestyle as healthy as you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. Your testosterone is always going down the older you get.
Speak for yourself, buddy. Me and Jay, we're on Blue Chew or whatever.
Hims? Isn't it Hims or what is
it? I don't know. I always see ads for like Blue Chew.
That's going to be one of our sponsors in a little bit. So
I'm like, who is using that?
Mouthing it.
Like the guys that go to the gas station, they're just like, I'll take 2 horny goat weeds, please. I'm like, who is taking this shit? I've never seen it, but somebody's doing it. One of these days, I'm gonna have to get it just to be like, how does it work?
Right? Can I get that? To it?
Right? Can I get that?
I'm good.
That black rhino, please.
Like, have you ever looked at a goat and you've been like, bro, man, that guy is killing it. Whatever, like horny goat weeds? Like, what? Really?
I'm just saying, man. They can stand like on walls, like sideways, man. Goats are amazing.
You know what?
All right.
But but Sam Sulek has it, and he has a following, and he gives out advice, and he does work hard. But of course, he's juicing, and like people take creatine, and
creatine's not that though. You can't put creatine.
Yeah, I know, like they're different things, but like if somebody wants to be fit and they take this, I guess you would call it a shortcut or a supplement, and then most people that don't take the supplement usually shun them. Like they're not like, man, you're big, you look great, man, what are you taking?
So let's talk about Sam. Go ahead, Jay. We'll come back to
like
Sam.
It's like people that I start a business, I make a boatload of money, but I come from money. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, it's not that hard. You know what I mean? You can ask your dad for a small personal loan of $1 million. Right. It's just like, you didn't come up from the mud, You
went there. What orange man did that?
I'm just saying, we don't need to get
Sounds like
into
fake
that.
news to me, Jay. But let's talk about Sam Sulek for a second here. So Sam works incredibly hard, hard. Has one of the best builds, today currently. But Sam is doing so much damage to his body, and him not being very transparent and forthcoming is very dangerous, to people that like are trying to get like this kind of like build or physique or whatever. And they also need, like, I wish he was more honest about like his health issues, because there are periods that he goes through where you can see like he's, his heart is under a lot of pressure. You can see like he just looks awful, like he's big, he's strong, but he looks like he's, a couple weeks away from death's door sometimes, depending on how bad it is. You look at his back. One of the signs of people that are like heavy in anabolic steroids is you'll see like they have like, pimples and all kinds of shit and like weird side effects that happen to their body. And that's a thing that like he goes through a lot. Like anybody who is familiar with like observing bodybuilders that are natural, natty, they call them, versus people on steroids is like, whoa, like this is probably not the
Looking
best,
good, Jay.
Not the best, the best
Feeling
thing.
better.
And I think that that's something that, should be talked about. And then not only that, you know, we look at bodybuilders, and this is what I probably know the most about. So this is what I'm, you know, going to speak on. But you look at somebody like Ronnie Coleman, for instance. That's somebody who abused the fuck out of some steroids, and he was one of the best to ever do it. I mean, as far as like a building a physique is concerned, steroids or not, but the damage that he's done to his body, like he can't even really walk, you know?
Didn't he have an accident though? I thought he got hurt on a workout or something, like a squat or a deadlift or something. And
I mean, there are things that happen, but he's got more health issues than that, you know? So we're not getting into this is not the biography of Ronnie Coleman today, but I'm just saying, like, he has a lot of, he's got a lot of issues that came directly from that. There's a lot of bodybuilders that, like, you know, were like Mr. Olympia status that have just fucking fallen out and died over the years. And this is like, you know, it's some of it's a little bit of the extreme that they push their body, but a lot of it is like they wouldn't have even had pushed their bodies that far if it wasn't for like these, you know, drugs. And it's important to talk about that stuff, you know? So it's like, if you want to do it, like, I don't have like any shade. If you want to be big for the sake of being big, cool, but just be honest about it, because there are side effects and things that happen, and it does become an addiction. Because if you know, like, you know,
you can't stop that shit. You can't go back, right?
Well, so you'll lose what you gained. Like, that's going to happen, right? So you could be like, oh, I'm just going to do a cycle or two and, you know, see how I feel. And you're killing it. You're better in the bedroom. You know, you're looking better than you ever have. You're cut. You're huge. Your diet doesn't even have to be anywhere near as tight or consistent. And then you get off of it and you just watch it, like, you know, start to diminish, you know, like almost immediately. And it's just like, well, where do we go from here? You know, like, and that's kind of why it becomes addicting. You know, it's really hard for people that get into it to get off of it. You're fucking Superman for a year, and then now you're just, you know, back to being Clark Kent. I'm like, yeah, he looks kind of big in that suit, but he's not saving the day. That's how it feels.
Say, what can you do for me?
So it's like, it's not shade. Like, I've no, like, there's nothing wrong with taking them if that's what you choose to do. That you just need to be open and honest about what it is that you're doing. Transparent. Right. That's what I'm saying, because the risks that are involved need to be shared with people. And it's also unrealistic for people that have no intention of doing it, because, like, for me, like, the risks are way too high. I never want to get that kind of a high and then not be able to keep up with it, or, you know, start to deal with the health issues. And now I'm addicted to this thing that's fucking killing me. But you know what I mean? Like, it just puts you in this dark place. I'd rather not.
And then you don't want to give people false hope. Like, hey, you could be like me. And then no matter how much they work, it's just like, why can't I be like you, Mr. Whoever, you know? But yeah, I don't know. It's tough, man.
So, Jay, I know you went to the gym, or you used to. To wrap things up, we all had a routine, whatever routine we did last, whatever routine we're doing now, whatever tips, like just hidden tips that we can give people. Let's just break it down for each of us. And I'll go first. I'll save Tino for last, because this is going to be the longest. What I do, and I've done trial by fire. I've tried a lot of things. I fasted. I've done carnivore. I've done all that. No sugar, no grains is what works best for me diet-wise. No sugar, no grains. My skin cleared up. I felt fuller, and I just tightened up real quick. So no sugar, no grains is what worked for me. Monday, I do chest, 2 chest workouts, 2 back workouts, 30 minutes of cardio. Tuesday, I do shoulders, I do arms, 30 minutes of cardio. Wednesday, I do legs, I do a quick core workout, 30 minutes of cardio, and I repeat that for the next 3 days. On Sunday, I might rest, or I just might start it all over again. But the main thing that helped me diet-wise is no sugar, no grains, and you stop eating 4 hours before you go to bed. That was a huge thing for me. Especially if you get to sleep good, 4 hours before you go to bed, maybe 8 hours, then you just did a 12-hour fast on accident. So, like, that's what worked out for me, and it's been working out pretty good. My heaviest was 204, and I'm probably 178 right now.
That's baby
so,
weight,
and that was all
weight up.
That was all unhealthy stuff. Yeah, and I heard that before someone else speaks. I heard that if you're under 200 pounds, you need to go on a bulk immediately. And I was like, Jesus, that's so far away from me.
Dude, my top bulk,
like, wait a minute.
I got up to 275. So, like, yeah, I mean, and I definitely allowed myself to put on some more fat when I did that, but I wasn't like fat. You know what I mean? Like, I was strong as hell. Like,
how'd you feel? Sluggish?
I did. So, like, originally I was gonna go to 300. I think I started at maybe about 212. And, you know, it took me a couple of years, like, you know, just slow pacing it to get to 275. But when I finally got there, you know, I'm looking at that last 25 and I'm like, this is it, man. Like stairs are starting to feel like, you know, because I was just big, but, you know, but everything was like starting to like wind me, you know? So, you know, I've been doing a slow cut right now. I'm down to 235. I don't really care what my weight comes down to, if I'm being honest with you. That's just what it is. I'm getting my body fat percentage lower. So that's where macros come into play. So you have to have a certain amount of protein and fats to keep the muscle you've obtained. And then it's less carbs. So yeah, you do feel a bit more tired, but it has to be less in order to do the cut and keep that muscle. So I'm just trying to get my body fat percentage, maybe to like 12. I don't want to be like a cut dude. I just want to be back to where, like, you know, I turn this way in the right light and they're like, is that a six pack? And then I turn this, you know, like a holographic that's like two pictures in one. I just want to be like that, where they're like, he's got something going on. You're like, that's it.
He said, it's a little something under there. You just got to get the baby oil on there. It'll make them pop.
When I was at 204, when I was at 204, we did one of those body fat things, and I think I was 21%. So I don't know what I'm at now. I don't know what it would be, but like at 204, I was at 21%, and I was like, "Is that a lot?" And then a fat guy took it, and he was at like 26, and I was like, "Oh."
He was like, "Shit."
You want to try to be under 20 to like once you start getting above 20 for a man is when you start getting into like, you know, beer gut area and stuff like that.
Right.
You know, like the beginning of it, like it's okay. Like everybody's a little different, but that's just kind of like a rule of thumb. And usually under 10%, which is not unhealthy. It's like genetically it depends, but like, I mean, it's not like healthy either, right? Like single digit body fat can be kind of dangerous depending on how low. That's when you're like training territory. So somebody who's really in the bodybuilding might go as low as like 6%, which they're killing themselves to look so good on stage, but will maintain, you know, like as high as like, you know, 12, 15%, like in the off season. Okay. You just, that might even be a little high. I'd say more like just low double digits, just so that they kind of give themselves a little bit of a break, because it's unrealistic to stay at fucking 6 or 7% all year round.
You're killing yourself. You're not going to make it.
Yeah, you can't. Like me right now at 235, I'm at 18.3% body fat.
Okay. But I gotta figure out what my you know, my index is at.
I'll put you on. There's some scales that are fairly accurate, as well as like the little sensors that you can get. They're not perfect, but they're pretty close. I have two, close enough. I go back and forth between the two and then get the average of, you know, what that number is, and that's what I go by personally. Okay. But I mean, just get something to, you know, figure out where you're at. Yeah. But yeah, for me, I'm trying to get down as close to 12% as possible. I don't want to be lower. I don't care. I just want to be close to 12%. And then whatever that is, do that for a while. And then I'll figure out what I do, whatever my next goal is.
Okay. All right.
But I think it was your turn to answer, Jay. Sorry.
But yeah, so my thing is find something that you like, find something that you enjoy. That is going to, for me, because you might even surprise yourself. Like you fucking around with Tino, you know, like I wasn't a runner. I was not and Tino was like, come on, man, do this 5K with me. I was like, oh, here we go. Here we fucking go.
I don't even do that no more. But I remember that was a different time. It was a different Tino back then.
But, you know, I was like, I trained up for it. I got ready. I would, you know, hit the street behind my parents' house. It's like a straightaway. I would hit that block a couple times, and I built myself up to that. And I feel like having a goal like that was pretty good. Like just to have something to work towards. Like it wasn't a specific, I wasn't really trying to run the whole thing at once or like go for time or anything. But I was like, you know what? I want to be able to do this without fucking crawling through the finish line, you know?
Right.
And I ended up really enjoying it. Like I really did.
Well, you both know a lot about losing weight because you both lost a lot of weight, and that doesn't happen by accident. So something must have clicked. You must have figured something out, and you stuck with it. So.
You got to be consistent, man. That's you know that's the other biggest thing. But it's easy to be consistent if it's something that you like. If you get what I'm saying, like that's how you are able to keep it going. Like my workout wise, I would just, you know, my grouping is nothing crazy. You know, back and buys. Chest and tries, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
I would do core every day because I feel like, you know, it's the core, it's everything that's keeping you upright to walk, that's keeping you I mean, obviously it's your legs, but the core is a big part of everything. So I would hit core for everything. So whatever I'm doing core, and then I'll do some cardio. But yeah, you got to love what you're doing. You got to love what you're doing.
All right, Tino, your 8-day workout schedule a week.
Well, I can tell you what I do, but what somebody starting out should do is, one, like we said at the very beginning of this podcast, you're going to want to do things that work for you. But if you don't like something, you're subconsciously going to fight yourself and just eventually just not do it. Like, it is what it is, but the good thing about exercise, there's a lot of different ways to do this, to kind of get the same goal done, so you're not trying to be a bodybuilder. We're not talking about that. You want to work out chest and you don't like push-ups. Cool. You can do a bench set. Don't like bench set? You can do dumbbell press. You don't like dumbbell press? You can do flies. You can just pick a thing to start and stick with that for a little while. The body is a unit. So the best approach is to find at least one or two exercises for everything in the body that you like, and just figure out a schedule that works for you. So like, I would encourage like splits. So for instance, you don't have to go in and do a full body routine. It's going to take all day. You're going to be tired every day. But if you break it up and you're like, okay, so I'm going to do back and biceps. So I'm going to do 2 exercises for back, 2 for biceps. It's not a lot. You can do it in one day. It's done. All right. Well, what do I do next day? Chest and triceps, 2 different groups. So you can do 2 of each thing. It's going to take you about 30 minutes on average. Cool. You're done. Well, now what? How about legs and shoulders? Okay, and then what? And then, I don't know, Saturday, maybe find some core crunch sit-up routines that you like and just do that at home. And that's basically, the whole body in a nutshell. And over time, maybe you'll get more adventurous. You want to try new exercises or whatever, but at least now you're hitting every muscle group one day a week, and it starts that consistency. And, from there, it evolves or turns into whatever works for you. There's so many different ways to do this. Some people are like, I'm going to just do upper body on Monday, and then, Tuesday is lower body, then back to
full body workouts are crazy to me.
Well, it's not that they're crazy, but it's just not the most efficient time-wise. So for me, and it's taken me a few years to get this, but I'm stronger than I've ever been. So what I do, if anybody's like wondering, and I'm not like a goddamn bodybuilder, but I'm definitely a gym addict.
I'm like, you don't got to lie. You don't got to lie to us, Tino. Right. I'm looking at you.
These 18-inch pythons right here.
Right. I see you.
Natural, which is hard, was very hard to get to 18-inch arms. But for me, I have my workouts split up. So like Monday, I'll do like chest and triceps, right? And then I'll do back and biceps. But like whatever like the exercise, routine is for the next day, basically I alternate between biceps and triceps every single workout session. I'm doing some variation throughout the entire week, giving myself a whole 24 hours rest for that muscle group in between, because arms take a lot. Your triceps take up 2/3 of your arm. A lot of people come in just doing curls. You're not going to get big arms doing curls. Your triceps are what's going to really, make your arms shine. If your triceps are bigger, your triceps.
You see that? You see that cut right there?
Not bad, Jay.
I see it. They call that the horseshoe. I see you, buddy. But that's gonna strengthen your chest workouts, because triceps get utilized when you're using chest. So a bigger, stronger tricep is going to get a bigger, stronger chest, and shoulders are there for stabilizing. So better shoulders. It all kind of works together. But basically I train every single muscle group strategically spread out throughout the week, at least twice a week, every single one.
Right.
And I have in a different way, to kind of confuse the body. But because of that, consistently, I work out I only lift like about 45 minutes on average a day, but I'm now stronger than I have ever been, so it's like, I'm lifting until failure, but I'm giving my body like the proper amount of rest. And then I'm, after that I hit it again, cause it's like, if I can do it, then why not?
I don't think nobody wants to be in the gym for 2 hours anyway. So it's like, you gotta get to work in there too. You can't be on your phone, one of those people on the machines. Like, I put my phone in my locker.
Yeah. To like do it, and it's like, when I was younger, for me, I thought that it equated to, I just got to be in here more, and I gotta do 100 different chest exercises, and like, I'm like, with all the stuff that I've looked, there's a lot of information, and what I'm saying may not work for you, so don't take that, take it with a grain of salt. But for me, about 45 minutes to an hour lifting sessions and hitting those muscle groups twice a week and going until failure has been the most successful for me. And every couple of weeks, as a veteran weightlifter, I can, if I push myself, I can get about a 2 to 5% increase in strength, like every 5 or 6 weeks, if the protein's there and the sleep is right.
Right.
You know, but for me, like I've kind of gotten to a point where like I'm just trying to maintain my muscle. I was working on this at 275. I've actually gotten a little bit stronger since starting my cut, which is weird. But yeah, I'm not trying to lift more anymore. I'm just trying to like, you know, maintain it, make sure my body's challenged, and just come down a little bit on the body fat. So that's me right now. If anybody out there cares.
All right, but no, this is a good episode because, you know, especially, you know, people, they get older, they want to get into the gym. Finally, we're out of time. We're old. We're out of time. We got to get into the gym.
There it is. These babies right here.
There it is. Yeah, it's time to get to work. So I think this episode was pretty cool for, you know, me being a beginner going to the gym, Tino going to the gym for the rest of his life until he fucking dies. And, you know, it's these conversations are important because maybe they're not having these conversations. Especially
the gym is where I go to cry. So stop it. Okay.
As long as you don't do it on the show, or maybe you should. Those are good clips.
We're not doing it on the show. I don't want to run the tapes back. What, is he stretching in there? I hear him whimpering. What is happening in that room?
Big screen. Put it on the big screen. But if there's nothing else, we can get out of here.
All right, cool. Well, what was that Steven used to say on that old show? Tell someone you love them.
Oh yeah, tell someone you love them. I stole it from good old JR. So for Tino, Jay, and Steve, tell someone you love them. Take care. Bye.
All right,
Must
guys.
be nice
Peace.
to have someone. What's that like? Okay, bye. I'm gonna go cry after this.